Okay. What's up? What's up? What is up? Who do we have on here? Who do we have on? Let's give it another couple of minutes so that people can filter themselves on here. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome as always. My nice ice water because we got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to go over. A lot of stuff has happened since the last time we've talked. Ridiculous. Crazy. Let me know if you're on here. Let me know if you can hear me. Put them in the comments down on the side there. I want to make sure we're good to go. All right. Who do we got? Who do we got here? Who do we got? Let's slowly start filtering on. Jesse, you still on, man? I hope I answered all your questions. Sorry, I missed you there. He had a lot of good questions for me, so I hope I answered them. Lorenzo, what's up, man? Dude, the Astros. Jared, what's happening? Welcome, guys, as always. Astros, I mean, unbelievable. The Braves are winning 5-0 right now. The Dodgers, this could... John, what's happening, bud? Can you guys hear me well? Can you guys hear me all right? Let me know if you can hear me in the comments there. Good to go? Good. Daily dose, man. Dude, Houston has a chance. I mean, Houston and Braves, it looks like it might be heading that way. It could be the most unsexy World Series in history. That's crazy. Crazy. Good. Robert, what's happening, man? Good. Joe, what's happening, man? Welcome, Joe. Welcome to the page. Welcome to the channel. You're always welcome, man. I appreciate you coming on. John, I would actually I'd like to see the Braves win it too. And then what I hope that happens in the offseason is the Houston Astros lose Correa, the Red Sox lose somebody. Eduardo Rodriguez, one of the left-handed pitchers, is a free agent. I didn't even realize that. So I hope they lose him. And but my fear is that Toronto is going to load up on people. So I'm looking out for that. So Anthony, YouTube fan, what's happening, man? Yeah, I mean, well, I have a whole bunch of things I want to go over, you guys. But you just brought up Boone. That's the first thing. So he's back, obviously, as you know, for 3 years with a fourth-year team option for 2025. I'm sure it was a surprise for many, and even a disappointment for many, and especially that it happened so soon. I didn't expect it to happen so soon. But at least the Yankees are kind of being proactive with stuff, and they made some kind of acknowledgments that, the Gleyber Torres shortstop experiment wasn't working. So if he stays, then he'll likely be at second base, and it sounds like they're going to invest in a shortstop. Now, I'm hearing conflicting reports. I'm hearing on one side that, it sounds like it's going to be Correa or Seager, and then I'm hearing on the other side it might be Simeon or Story. So I don't know. But 4 frontline starters there for shortstop. So either way, it's going to be an interesting, a very interesting offseason. And my guess at that point, if they keep Torres at second, then my guess is DJ is going to move to first, so they won't do anything about first base, especially since he's locked up for 5 more years. And if they keep Gio at third, then they keep Gio. If they move him, then they'll bring in somebody for third base. Good. You guys can hear me. That's good. The Braves haven't been in the World Series since '99 when the Yankees swept them. I was actually at that game, the winning game, Game 4, with my mom when Roger Clemens threw, and they won that game. Chad Curtis made the last out, caught the ball in left field on a pop fly, and they won. And that was when Clemens and Jeter they came back on the dugout and were shooting, spraying champagne over everybody. It was really, really cool, man. It was a really cool celebration. Griminator, I think Seager's probably the best option too. He's kind of right in the middle to me of Simeon and Correa. So, and I'm really curious to see what because I'm hearing that there's a possibility that they may be able to get Seager on a short-term deal. I don't know. If they can, that's even better. Let him make sure that he can prove that he's healthy and whatnot, and then figure it out from there. Cashman did love Boone. I mean, it's pretty obvious that these guys will how as long as they're doing what Hal wants, and as long as Boone's doing what Cashman wants, and they're winning money, then like they can do no wrong. Now, I've said this too, but Boone was part of the problem, yes, but he's not the entire problem. I mean, Hal and Cashman were, to me, were the bigger problems, and but that said, they're going to have to surround Boone now. I mean, and we've had time to kind of process it and vent and all this stuff, but like now it's it's time. We got to surround them with better coaches, and they need to surround the team with better talent. So, and make the team more built towards beating these more athletic and dynamic teams. I mean, it's got to be that way. It's got to be that way. And he'd say to the fans, and he would leave the same record as Boston. Someone should tell him. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of like on a partial rebuild, more like a retooling. Like they had their major move happened last year when they moved Betts and they brought in Verdugo, and that was a seamless transition. Which kind of made it, to me, like less of a rebuild, more of a retooling. Teams like the Red Sox and the Yankees generally don't go on full rebuilds. They reshuffle and retool. But sometimes it can look like a rebuild. So I totally get what you're saying. Let Gio Torres walk and Volpe. You can, Daly. I'm not sure when Volpe's ready. Yes. It's really interesting. It would have been nice to hear from Hal, but of course I didn't expect to hear from Hal. But Cashman had, his usual, well, we were unbeatable and then we were unwatchable, like telling us things that we already know because they were obvious. So, but now it's honestly, so they showed their commitment to Boone. All right, that's clear. What they need to do now, in my opinion, is show their commitment to winning, and they need to bring in the right coaches. And to get, especially ones that are going to be able to get the best out of disappointing and just unfocused players, if they happen to keep guys like Sanchez and Torres and some of these other guys. So, and what's crazy to me is one observation I found is their Yankees are the richest franchise in all of sports. I get it, and we know that, but they haven't had the highest payroll since 2013. So it's been almost a decade since they've had the highest payroll, and only two other teams during that 9-year period have had the highest payroll: the Red Sox and the Dodgers. And obviously they're big market teams, they're big spenders, but they're also not afraid to make bold trades with blockbuster players. And that's one of the things that separate them from the Yankees. So I'll give them that. But the Yankees haven't had the biggest payroll since 2013. So that to me was a revealing observation too. Not an observation that they made. It's something I found out by doing a little poking around. And it's yeah, I mean, that's the thing too, with analytics. It seems as if they think analytics is doing just fine, where we all know that they're really not. And that's one reason why the Cardinals just fired Schilt, because he wouldn't fully embrace analytics like they want. They're trending toward being a full analytics team, and he didn't want to do that. Well, that's why the main reason they fired him. And that's the main reason why guys like Bruce Bochy and Mike Scioscia and Buck Showalter would not be fits here, even though fans would like him. They're not going to embrace that stuff either. And they're not going to be a mouthpiece for Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman. And why would they? I mean, they've been managing for 30 years. Like they're seasoned veteran managers, and they don't want to evolve into this new type of baseball that, not every team is doing anyway. So I get it. That's why I think that's one reason I think they brought in Boone, because there was no obvious fit. They brought back Boone. I mean, there's no obvious fit to replace him. Like a combination of somebody who's available and interested and willing to do what they want him to do. I couldn't think of anybody aside from Boone, which I think is the main reason they brought him back. So, but that said, I mean, it's it is what it is now. It's not like we can do anything about it. Oh, thank you about the Judge trade video. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, these are the things, like, I'm not like with Judge and Gallo and even Torres today. I did my Torres trade proposals today. And I make it clear too. It's like, if the Yankees decide to move these guys, and I'm not saying they should move everybody, if they decide to move them, and then here are some logical trade proposals that might make sense. You know what I mean? And hopefully you folks enjoyed it. Hopefully you think that you thought it made sense. So, and I'm going to continue, and it addresses needs for both sides, which is what I try to do. And I do, I do all the research. Like tomorrow morning, you're going to see my Aroldis Chapman trade proposals. So, and I'm trying to work on a Stanton one, but the problem is he has a full no trade clause. And it's essentially, okay, he can move to the Dodgers and then nothing until we find out if the NL adopts the DH. And then if they adopt the DH, then it opens up trade possibilities. But that would be the whole entire video. To the Dodgers or and then we have to wait until so I think I'm going to drop that video later on once the CBA's decided upon it and once they decide whether there's going to be universal DH, because then it opens up more possibilities for at least him. So I'm going to hold off on a Stanton video. But I don't think it's at this point now, the way he's playing, I don't think they're going to move him. So on Daly said the same thing. So it's just, yeah. I mean, like, look at him. He's killing the ball right now. He's killing the ball. And he's, you know what? He's showing leadership, and he answers the hard questions, and all the time he stands up in front of it. And what I like about him is when people are booing him, he's still doing it. When people love him, he's still doing it. So he's not fazed by this stuff. The dude is tough. He's a gamer. He's built to handle New York, despite what some other people say. People can hate him. He could care less. He's still going to come in and do what he did. And he is money in the postseason for the Yankees. Ever since all postseason, he's been money. So I can't complain, man. I really can't complain. I just wish he stays healthy more often. So, yeah, it's coming tomorrow, Ola. So you won't be waiting that long. Chapman trade video. And I have a whole bunch of other stuff, too. I have a couple of 4 blockbuster trades proposals for the New York Yankees. And I'm almost finished with my MLB free agent predictions. I'm going to do the top 50 players. Top 50. Okay. And here I have about 6 I need to go. Right there's page 1. Page 2. See the empty spots? Those are the ones I need to fill in that I'm still doing homework on. So I'm about 44 out of 50 done. So it's going to be really interesting. But like let's see too. You know what's crazy too, and another observation I found that I learned over the last couple of days with that Phil Nevin call that had Judge thrown out at home plate. Well, I don't know if you saw the Dodgers game the other day when they brought in Julio Urias in like the 9th inning, and they lost. They gave up a bunch of runs. That wasn't Dave Roberts' call. That was front office call. And apparently that call to run Judge was also a front office call and not a Phil Nevin call. That's what I'm hearing now. So it's kind of weird how little authority, little power, and little juice the managers actually have now in baseball. It's completely run by analytics and front office. So, but that said, he still has made some terrible moves in during the season as well. So it was time for some fresh blood. I just hope the new coaches that come in for the Yankees are not going to be overly infiltrated by the freaking analytics department and the front office. So these guys need a chance to actually help the players and be coaches. Otherwise, why the hell are they here? Just have robots out there. You know what I mean? Or give the players a mega or a micro headset so they can like. What's the point? You know what I mean? How long has the free agent prediction videos take? Daily. About 6 weeks. And the reason why is because the evolution of the season and the evolution of the players, I start to realize, okay, this guy might be better fit on this team because of this need and so on. So I've modified it several times, Daily does. That's why it's taking me so long. And I try to be as fitting as possible with this video. That's why it's my video that I work on a long time. So I want it to make sense. And, there's some flashy stuff in here. There's some more practical stuff, but I want it to be a really, really good video. So, and I think you'll like it. What did Cashman say today, James? I didn't see it actually. Who would I really get, Simeon, Correa, or Seager? Seager to me is in between the 3, Nicholas. Obviously, Correa is the big-time superstar. Simeon, I'm probably in the order Seager, Correa, Simeon. Probably in that order. Or Seager, Simeon, and Correa. I would not mind Simeon at all. He's a clutch hitter, and we'd be taking him away from, the Blue Jays. So I'm not opposed to that one at all. First base, Stungili. I think Stungili. I think it's going to be DJ LeMahieu. That's my guess. It'll be DJ. Apparently, Daly, it was a not during the play, but he already knew ahead of time. If this happens, this is what to do. If this happens, this is what to do, and so on. This stuff is planned ahead of time, from what I'm hearing, Daly. So, I as much as I would love to have like Michael K come on here and confirm that with someone else, but I don't think I'll be able to do that. If I can, I'll definitely try to get him on here. But that's what I'm hearing right now. And the same apply for the Dodgers. It was a front office and analytics call to have Urias in there. Was not a Dave Roberts call, and Roberts kind of alluded to that too. So too much power, way too much power. Now the front office can do whatever they want, Daly. If he doesn't do it, it's just like Aaron Boone. If he doesn't do what the front office wants, they'll get rid of him. They'll get rid of him quickly. Ron Washington, potential bench coach, maybe. I'd love Buck Showalter as a bench coach, but Ron Washington, maybe. I'd like Showalter, but I don't know if he would take that role. Although it would be kind of nice if he did. It really would. If he didn't get any managerial opportunities, I would love it if he came and was a bench coach here for Boone to really help light a fire on some of the asses of these players. Yeah. Dude. Marcel, man. Eric Clapton. That's great, dude. Yeah, I mean, he's a good coach, and he's made some good moves here with the Braves. Some good bold base running plays, and they're gonna be about to go up 3 games to what? 3 games to 1? It's nuts. No, 3 games to 2. Is it 3 games to 2? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's 3 games to. They go up to 3 games to 1. That's nuts, man. That really is nuts. Rizzo, Mikey, Seager, Simeon, Correa, probably too, Nicholas. Rizzo is probably, he's proven himself here. He's a little bit older, but my gut's telling me, I wouldn't be upset if they brought Rizzo back, not at all. But my gut's telling me that DJ is going to be first base, but just because he's going to be less mobile. He had surgery last week. Oh, by the way, Jameson Taillon's having ankle surgery October 28th. He's going to be out 5 months. So no spring training. So I don't expect to see him until probably June, if we're lucky, Taillon. So that's another reason why they need to get 2 starting pitchers, because they're already down 1 5 months before the freaking season starts. They're already down a pitcher. So no, you're right. The decision made no sense, but this stuff is, it sounds like it's planned ahead of time, Daly. If on contact, you're running no matter what. And that's exactly what he did. And it's a simple call. It wasn't the right call, but it's a simple call, Daly. So he could it looks like it was Nevin's call, but he was also, he could, it sounds like he was doing what front office told him to do. So you see him waving him and so on and so forth. Like, an instinctual decision. Personally, I would have stopped him, but he would have probably gotten fired because of that too. So, but now it just sounds like, Nevin in terms of the fall guys here, instead of making Boone the fall guy, it sounds like those guys are the fall guys, even though it was a kind of inevitable that was going to happen. But there were some things that it looks like gives them justification to move on from him a little bit, to make it a little bit easier. But it's kind of pointless now. They're gone, and I'm curious to see, what they do moving forward with these new coaches. John Doe, what do I think of Halloween Kills? Michael Myers T-shirt, baby. Love the franchise. Love the movie. I'm going again on Sunday to see it. And by the way, if anybody here goes to see Halloween Kills, if you can see it in IMAX, the sound effects in this movie specifically, phenomenal. Coming out of that burning house, and oh my god. And this was the most gory, the most violent Halloween movie ever. Nicholas, yeah, like you just made a good point. The Sox beating the Rays makes it feel like maybe, but this is what I mean. This is playoff. Like, some teams get hot and some teams get hotter and some teams get cold. Like, it's like the Sox beat the Rays, and now it looks like the Astros are going to beat the Red Sox. And I had thought the Rays were going to make it all the way. It's like, you never know. It's unpredictable in the world, in the playoffs. It really is. Michael K was talking about it daily. He made some bold, stuff, talking to some other beat writers and talking to some of the Yankee people, because he's got inside Obviously, he's an inside guy with the Yankees, so he was going into pretty deep detail with it, Daily Dose, about that type of stuff. So and hearing it from other little sources here and there too. But it is interesting. It is interesting. Now, like I said, I can't verify, I can't confirm it, but that's what it sounded like. So, nevertheless, that one call didn't cost the Yankees the whole entire playoffs, because they were horrifically suited to begin with anyway. So I didn't think that call was going to change the whole entire series. Favorite basketball team? Knicks. New York Knicks. Yeah, I think Hill's and Robert is going to get an opportunity in spring training, no doubt about it. As he should, probably Luis Medina as well. But I still think they need to bring in two starting pitchers, whether it be trade or whether it be a free agency, or one of each. The flashback scene 78 was phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. They kept bringing it back, man. I'm a Jason Voorhees guy too. Okay. And I'll show you something. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I love both of them. And this Michael his kills were like Jason Voorhees. So we'll get back to the baseball stuff in a second. But since you brought up horror stuff, I think you might appreciate this. The guy that played Jason Voorhees in Part 7, A New Blood, Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X is the same guy. His name is Kane Hodder. Okay? And he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet in the world. So is James Jude Courtney, the guy that plays the new Michael Myers. The nicest people you'll ever meet. But I got a picture with Kane. And so there's a horror movie convention on the East Coast. If any of you live near New Jersey, Monster Mania, it's in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And they happen twice per year. In March and in August. Okay, but look, this is Kane Hodder. That's me, obviously, and that's what would Jason do? That's Kane Hodder. You see how I look? I can basically shit my pants. I'm off my feet there. He's picking me up off my feet. Okay. This is the Michael Myers from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Tyler Mane. The girl from Nightmare on Elm Street. Nancy. The original one. Who was locked in the house. CJ Graham. Jason from Friday the 13th Part 6. Okay. There's a bunch more, but I'm a huge fan. I love Jason, love Michael, my two favorite slashers ever. And the front office this stuff's planned ahead of time, James. The coaches already know what the front office wants, and so they know these things. I doubt they have little headsets and saying, "Don't let It's like run on contact. That stuff is probably decided beforehand. So, and again, that could have been. I understand the logic of them trying to go, but it was pretty obvious he was going to be thrown out. It was pretty obvious. He was out by almost 15 feet. So it stinks. It really does. I mean, Chris, you're absolutely right. They need some contact hitters. They need a lot of contact hitters. And speaking of that, what do you guys think? They need to make an Aaron Judge decision this offseason, okay? I'm going to make a few points. And they're gigantic. They are huge guys. But, and I've said this before, so this is my personal feeling. Again, they have to make their best offer for an extension this offseason, okay? If they turn it down, then you have to trade him. You cannot wait until the deadline or next year. We can't trade him next year because he's a free agent. So you'll lose all leverage. But now's the time to offer him an extension. And if he rejects it, if you know he's going to reject it, and let's say they offered him 6 years, 180. I would max out at 7 years, 210, which is 30 per year. That might not be enough for him. If he rejects that, then you pretty much know he's going to go where the money is. So if he signs with Cincinnati, he's going to put on his happy face and say, I've always wanted to be in Cincinnati or Colorado. I've always wanted to be in Colorado, be around the thin air so I could train. He's going to put the happy face on and say he's always wanted to be there. Okay. You pretty much know that. And it's his right to go after the money. This is his one chance to cash in on free agency, as he should. So can't blame him for that. But and he's going to say the right things. I want to stay here. I want to win. It just drives up the price. for the Yankees, okay? And that's just a fact, too. And this is a fact that not many people want to acknowledge. Somebody said the other day he's Jeter 2.0. He's not Jeter 2.0. Jeter is an almost unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer who played 20 years, okay? Jeter, I mean, Judge is great. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. But let's not compare the two right now. Judge has had trouble staying healthy for half of his career, and he's only been 5 years. He's got more power than Jeter, of course. He's got A-Rod type power. Okay, but you know the fact is too, if he happens to move on, right, or they trade him, you get a whole bunch of prospects in return. And all my proposals have prospects, obviously, and people are asking me why only prospects? Well, because you can replace him with Starling Marte right now at a fraction of the price for a fraction of the years. And Starling Marte could be a 30-30 guy here. He had like almost 50 stolen bases. He led the majors in stolen bases. He's a stolen base and a power guy. No one on the Yankees does that. Nobody. So his offense can be replaced. Yes, his impact will be felt, obviously. There's no doubt about it. The Judge's chambers. I get these things. I totally do. And I like Judge, and I'm not saying that they should trade him. I said they should trade him if he turns down their extension offer. It doesn't make any sense to negotiate against themselves. And do you really think he's going to leave 40, 50, 60, $70 million on the table to come back to New York? Who would? Nobody. So that's my take, okay? And you know, I don't know what you guys, whether you agree or not or disagree. It's just that's the reality right now surrounding Aaron Judge. So it's a decision needs to be made on him. A decision needs to be made on Sanchez. I have a feeling they're going to wind up moving on from Sanchez or making a trade, which is why all these trades I'm proposing for these players have a front-end catcher coming in return, because we have nobody in the farm who can be a replacement right now. If they moved on from Sanchez, Kyle Higashioka is not really a starter, a frontline starter. So they need somebody else. And see, Daily Dust, I mean, you'll see, and it wasn't, I don't know if it was the Michael K show yesterday or whatnot, but he talked about it a few days ago. But it's easy to think that it's Nevin's call, but it's also easy to, on other perspectives, to think that it wasn't. Or it could be Nevin's call based on what he's told to do. So, because it's going to look like his call. So, but again, there's really no point in kind of harping about it now. Because it's over. I mean, he's gone, and they just need to bring in, good coaches to get a lot out of Gallo, to get a lot out of Torres, to get a lot out of other guys if they're staying here. So, well, that's what I mean. Daily Deuce, Daily 6 or 7 years is my top extension offer for Judge, and and if he declined, exactly, you trade him and you do it the Sox 100%. You do what the Red Sox did with Mookie Betts, and look at Alex Verdugo. Looks like a superstar. And you can extract, and this is the offseason to do it, because you have free agents from the offensive side, particularly outfielders, who can replace a bunch of his offense. Starling Marte is one of them. He's older. You can get him on probably a 2 or 3 year deal, and he'll capably replace and also make it easier to move somebody like Aaron Hicks, who is apparently going to play some winter ball too. And that's what I'm hearing, or he's planning on playing winter ball. So we'll see if that happens too, which will at least help him get his footing back. And I mean, even if we trade Judge, we're still able to contend with this team. Exactly, this team. This is not the New York Aaron Judges. This is the New York Yankees, and I like Judge, but I like the Yankees better. Okay, and it's the team's not going to collapse. I hope that he doesn't go somewhere and become a Yankees killer. That would suck, but the Yankees need more than one player to win. So, and he's also, and keep in mind too, this new contract, if it starts in 2023, he's going to be 31. So, and at that point, we will have had 5 or 6 years of his prime years. So that, I mean, let's be grateful for that and fortunate for that. I mean, instead of giving him an 8 or 10 year deal, and 5 or 6 of them are going to be in his heavily declining years. So, and that's my fear. Like, we will have had the best of his years before his new contract starts. So, and that's something that they need to acknowledge. And I know they're not going to want to give up all the money and blah, 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 but winning World Series makes money, more money than Aaron Judge merchandise. So, And Chris, yeah, we've held on to top prospects too long until, yeah, they cannot be afraid to let young kids play. Rays do it, Blue Jays do it. Look at them. Look at all the young superstars they have. The Red Sox, like young, dynamic star. Like look at freaking DeFranco. Like I hope, the Volpe's ready next year and they bring him up. Oswald Peraza, they bring him up. They give guys a chance. I really do. Otherwise, what the hell's the point of having the minor league farm? And that's why these and what we don't have, major league ready players, are catchers, and that's why all my trades have catchers in them, because we don't have a replacement for Gary Sanchez, and the free agent market doesn't have any appealing or flattering options either. So, and Sanchez is projected to make about $8 million, which is not. I mean, that's not chump change. So, and I know he's got a high ceiling offense, but he's way too inconsistent. We need somebody who's better at the backstop, man. Even if you trade for Wilson Contreras for the year, I'll take that. Hit by pitches, other issues. He's had some calf, lower leg issues too. Hip issues with Stanton, and the WAR doesn't really make any difference. He's only played 3 years. Jeter's played 20, so we can't compare WAR. It's meaningless to compare at this point. But like that said, he's a valuable player. There's no doubt about it. Boone, Judge is valuable here, and he is the face of the team. So there's no doubt about that. But yeah, I'm not really. You surround Boone by a better personnel, I think he'll be okay. But he still has to improve in certain areas too. He's got to be able to hold the players accountable and not be afraid to do that. That's why I like Alex Cora. He does that, even though he has a stink of the cheating thing tied to him. He still holds players accountable. So, and he shows that tough love too. Jason Dominguez, all out probably 2023, 2024. He's 18, so he's a little bit of a way. He needs more development. I think Volpe, maybe late 22. Potentially early 23. He'll probably get an invite to spring training. So, international. Yeah, I remember that, Daily. Yeah, it would have been nice to have Juan DeFranco, wouldn't it? It would have been really nice. And Jaylen Brown, wow, Knicks up on Sixers. Wow, that's a good game right there. I hope my Yankees play well. I hope they do better than last year. Carson Kelly from the Arizona Diamondbacks, a young talented. Yeah, it could be. It could be. It's your boy. It's a major league option. He's got a good arm. So, and that's like Arizona. That's what That's what you look for to do a blockbuster trade too, like a Carson Kelly and a Zach Gallen, or Carson Kelly and a Ketel Marte. Like you can maybe put together a big trade. So, Chris, yeah, Jacob Stalling, but he's 32 years old also. He's a good option, but he's older. And we need to get younger and more athletic. That's my only issue with Stalling, but he's solid. So he's solid. Sean Murphy. Stallings and Reynolds. Jacob Stallings, catcher. Reynolds, if you're talking about Brian Reynolds, oh God, yeah. He's been my number one trade target for the whole year. I'd love to get him over here. I really would. So, what are we getting back with deals being made with players to be named later? Well, they got a starting pitching prospect from that young 23-year-old, dynamic starting pitching prospect for the Luis Cessa and Justin Wilson trade. So, but that's more of a long-term, probably developmental guy, maybe another 2 years or so. Yeah, and if MLB doesn't change the rules, Daly's right. We were projected to sign Roderick Arias, or expected to sign him. He's the number one international prospect. He's another up-the-middle player, too. So, Yankees heavy duty in the up-the-middle position players. Do I think the Yankees should go for Matt Olson? It would be really nice to play these games. It would be really nice. But then they've obviously at that point decided to move on from Rizzo and Voit, obviously. And then at that point, you're looking at probably moving Gio to shortstop and DJ to third and Torres to second. Maybe, unless they move one of those guys too, or unless you're moving Torres or Gio in a trade for Olson. I think it makes more sense to go for an Olson and Sean Manaea because he's got one more year there until he's a free agent, and the A's are not in the business of paying their players when they approach free agency. So the Yankees can give them controllable players on the cheap, several of them, and they would assume the A's contract. So let's just say it's Matt Olson and Sean Manaea for whatever, Voit, Torres, and maybe 2 prospects or something like that. Might make sense. At that point, then you have DJ at second base. Would I trade Judge for Pete Alonso? No, I would not. I wouldn't trade Judge for anybody on the Mets. I would not. Yan Gomes, maybe, but he's older. He's like 34, 35 years old. Solid, but I mean, not as a long-term solution. The high elite draft, the catching draft picks are more of a long-term solution. So Yan Gomes can be a stopgap for those guys. Sure, absolutely. So, but you get a one of these super duper high-end guys, then we have a young, controllable, catcher behind the dish for a bunch of years. And that's what we need. That's what we need. If Andujar's not, Andujar, Frazier, all out, like a bunch of them, they need to clear 40-man roster spots because they're gonna have to start protecting guys like Volpe and some of the other guys from the Rule 5 draft. So Kumar Rocker, well, he's going back to he'll be eligible for the draft next year because he did not sign with the Mets. He looks like a pretty dynamic pitcher too. And Olsen, I'm okay not getting Olsen if DJ is at first base. And if a healthy DJ is at first base. Grandal is locked up long-term with the White Sox, Lorenzo. He's a White Sox long-term. He's got several more years left. I think 3 more on a big contract. He was solid. I was hoping the Yankees were going to get JT Realmuto a couple years ago, but that didn't happen. He was the best catcher out there. Judge for DeGrom, I would not do because DeGrom is older and he's showing to start breaking down. Prime DeGrom, I would do it in a heartbeat, but unhealthy DeGrom, too risky, in my opinion. I would love for DeGrom. If he opted out, I would be all over him if I were the Yankees. So on I'd give him a monster 1-year deal, improve it, that he's healthy, and then you attach a couple options on the back of it. Cole and DeGrom would be just ridiculous, especially if DeGrom was healthy. Oh God, ugh. Cole needs somebody at that level to push him. That's why I keep pushing Verlander on an incentive-laden deal or something like that, because he was better when he was surrounded by Verlander. Verlander was the guy in Houston. Cole was not. He let Cole just kind of develop and turn into this monster superstar. So, and I think, something similar could happen. Verlander can have a similar impact here, or somebody like DeGrom could have a similar impact. And DeGrom is used to owning New York right now. So, and the Mets would absolutely hate us for it. And that would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Javi Baez. Marcel. Yeah, I'm not sure. Javi Baez would be in the bottom of my list, even though he's a pretty good hitter, and he got better when he was traded over to the Mets. I see him as a better fit for the Mets, and I do think the Mets are probably going to re-sign him. I would go for Seager or some of these other guys over Baez. Would I sign Kevin Gausman or Marcus Stroman? At this point, I'm like 50-50. Because Stroman's shown that he can handle New York, but he's a bit of a diva too. So Gausman is not that way. So I'm right in the middle between the two. If I had the choice, I would sign someone else over both of them. So I would sign different pitchers. I'm not sure Kevin Gausman is going to do well again coming back to the American League from the National League. I'm always worried about that transition. And even though Stroman showed that he can handle New York, it tends to be like I said, it tends to be a diva. I don't know if he's going to be the right fit here, but he's definitely not crazy like Trevor Bauer. Gallo to Kansas City for Benintendi. I would do that. Judge for Chapman, Olsen, and one of their top relievers. I would do it, but the A's wouldn't do it. And the main reason why is because Judge is about to make $1 gazillion, and the A's are not going to pay him. So, and they're not going to give up two of their studs with 2 years of control for one of our studs with 1 year of control. It just doesn't make sense to the A's. But I would do it. I would. Add in some other pieces so the A's take it. We'd have to add quite a bit. Colin Rodon would be nice. Colin Rodon or Colin Robbie Ray. Colin Verlander, like a bunch of guys. Like I said, we need 2 starters. Cole, Rodon, Luis Castillo, or somebody like that from Braves, or Cole, Eduardo Rodriguez, now from the Red Sox, and trade for another pitcher, or Robbie Ray or somebody like that. Assignment, there's a lot of ways, but either way, I think the Yankees need to bring in 2 starters, no matter what. And especially now that we know Taillon's going to be out at least 5 months because of his ankle surgery. We don't know, the 5 might turn into 6 or 7 because of some other setback or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. So, and again, that's my worry. Trevor Story's, he's an appealing option, Jason, on a short-term deal for shortstop. And he's a good defensive player, and he's a good combo player. Torres for Castillo would have been, I would have done it last offseason. Unfortunately, it's going to cost more than Torres now to get Castillo. Torres' value's down. Even though he's 24 and he's got a lot of upside, his value's down. Castillo had a rough first half, but he came storming back the second half. So he's got 2 controllable years. So I think it will cost Torres and the prospect at the minimum. But if they did that, then I would only trade Torres for like 2 or 3 guys. Castillo's one of them, a frontline starting pitcher, or Matt Olson or somebody like that, top of the line guys. I'm not going to just trade him just for the sake of trading him. So that's my thought. Imagine a rotation of Cole, Rodon, Stroman, Montgomery, and one of the high-end relievers. I would go, it's your boy, I would go Cole, Rodon, Stroman, Montgomery, and Luis Hill. At that point, I would give Luis Hill a shot. But I would not. You brought in Rodon and Stroman, I wouldn't be offended. And Stroman would, he'd be the number 3 here, not be the number 2. So, I wouldn't be offended at that. It's your boy. Stallings, Correa, Happ, and Rodon. Which Happ you talking about? Ian Happ? You talking about Ian Happ from the Cubs? Or hope you're not talking about J.A. Happ. Stallings, that would be a pretty big coup, pretty big haul there for the Yankees, Darryl. No, I don't think we're that far away. I think we're maybe 1 or 2 players away, but they have to do the right things with the players, and they haven't been. They need better coaches because they have the talent, but the talent hasn't been matching up to performance, especially with guys like Sanchez and Voit being unhealthy. But Torres is too much inconsistency, too much lack of focus. The Yankees need to be better prepared, and there's a lot of things that they just need to do that they're not doing. On paper, I don't think we're far away. Up here, yes, I do. In preparation, I do. That's why they need better coaches, and Boone needs to step up his game too. I still think we only need 1 more starter. Piggyback, maybe. Yeah, I would still go 2 starters and start Sevy in the bullpen. And if he shows he can stay healthy, then build him up towards the rotation. I wouldn't start Sevy personally. I would not start Sevy in the rotation. I wouldn't do it. It's too risky. But I get what you're saying, Daily Dose. I totally get it. Cashman still he hasn't got any of that stuff yet from Hal. So, all right, Knicks. Yes, sir. I like when my Knicks win. I like it. Tom Thibodeau's turning this team around, man. Yeah, and whatever the budget. I'm really hoping. I'm hoping that they go over the threshold significantly. Why else would they have gotten under it this year to reset for this star-studded class? I don't see why they wouldn't have. Ian Happ is an attractive player there. He's attractive outfielder, plays multiple positions too. He's young. He's got several years of control. He'd be nice. I mentioned him last year as a trade acquisition fit. Yeah, Cody Bellinger. Maybe he's starting to turn it around now. I don't know if the Dodgers are going to be willing to move him in. I just don't see where he'd be a fit here. I like him, but where's he going to play? Shelly Duncan. Wow, Chase, you just brought us back, dude. Bring in Shelly Duncan. Let's bring back Sean Chacon and Aaron Small too. Remember those guys? Shelly Duncan. Wow. Oh my God. Looks like freaking Anthony Michael Hall from 16 Candles, who's now in Halloween Kills. Hitting coach? I don't know, man. Mike, I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm really not sure. I'm doing some homework and research, but I there's no signs at all of what they're thinking in terms of hitting coach. I just hope it's somebody who can get somebody with some experience who can get a lot out of the frustrating players. Trade for Sandy Alcantara, I would. I would definitely attempt to. No doubt about it. Daily Dose, I get what you're saying, but how often is everybody healthy? Never with the Yankees. Ever. There's always at least 2 starters down. Always. And again, at that point, I don't have Severino or Nestor or Herman in the rotation. All the bullpen. That could be a bullpen game, 3 innings of each. So, or Nestor could spot start or something like that. But that gives us a lot more length and flexibility by keeping those guys in the bullpen. Again, Tyon's going to be out. There's no guarantee of anything. There's no guarantee Hill makes the rotation either. So, I think if we offer Ichiro a job, he would accept. Yeah, the problem is he doesn't speak English. So that's the one problem. Nah, block. Well, as long as he's not an infield defense coach, because he used to throw the ball from second base into the freaking stands. He had those throwing yips, and that was crazy. It was nuts. That's the thing. That's what I mean. Like Sebi hasn't started in over 2 years, and I don't feel comfortable just throwing him to the wolves. He had they were building him as a starter on his rehab assignments, and he had a setback, and it was only like 2 starts into his rehab. That's why I think it'd be better to keep him in the bullpen, man. And he can turn into a really valuable weapon. Really valuable weapon. Thames is done, man. He's out. Shane Spencer, wow. Trade for catcher Salvador. I wish we could, amigo, but that'll never happen. I don't think the Royals are giving him up. He's the face of the franchise. He's the best offensive catcher in baseball. And he's under team control. He just signed a long-term contract, too, for about 4 years. Will be nice, though. He's a really good game caller and a great teammate. He's a class guy. Frank A-Rod. I would look at Edgar Martinez, guys like that. There's some other guys that, Wade Boggs and some folks have mentioned that as well. Edgar Martinez is an intriguing one for me. Yeah, and I agree with you, Mike. I don't think Gio's going to give up Alcantara. I think he's going to invest into some position players this offseason, a few of them, be a little bit bold. He might trade Pablo Lopez, but Alcantara is probably going to be his budding superstar there. Olatina, I wouldn't do Tino. He was bad. He was hitting coach for the Tampa Bay Rays several years ago, and they fired him because he was too nasty with the players. He was crazy. There was so many problems with him as hitting coach. Now, maybe he's turned the leaf and it'd be a little bit different now, but I have reservations as Tino as hitting coach, even though he was a great hitter with the Yankees. Chili Davis he's an intriguing possibility. He was with Boston as a coach. I don't. He might have been the hitting coach there. Monty, King, Cortez, maybe Daly, maybe. There's no guarantee. I mean, look at Cortez. The second half of the year, he couldn't get past 4 innings, so he gets gassed. I don't know if he's ready for that. And King too. King's coming back. No guarantee. King makes the rotation either. Because these guys make a few games and then they get hurt or something else happens. That's what I mean. That's why the depth is important. You can never have too much starting pitching depth. Ever. Knobloch is in rehab. Junior. A lot of these former Yankees are still hanging around. Yeah. A lot of them, man. Yes, we do need Nasty Ola. Garcia. Yeah, he had some major regression this year, Torman. He went from the Yankees' top prospect to their 11th prospect, and he was not even able to get guys out in the minors after struggling in the majors. And I know there's some mechanical changes that happened to him, but until he shows he can actually, not just have these issues all the time, he's not going to come up to the majors. I mean, Hill is ahead of him now. There's no doubt. And so is Medina, maybe even Clark Schmidt. But he had potential. I just hope that somebody can, unlock it for him. And yes, they do. They need to try to get rid of Britton, and they might be able to do it. Orc. I mean, if they add but they're going to have to add a really good prospect to him, a really good prospect for somebody to take that salary. And the same might go for Aroldis Chapman. You attach a big prospect so that they'll take the salary. No. Alcantara, yeah, he was good. Amigo Buck Showalter says there's really no assistant managers like bench coach. I would have Showalter as a bench coach. Yeah, Tino was very intense. Well, the problem was he was berating players in public. Like he was like a Nazi with these guys. He was nuts as a hitting coach. So he'd have to change that. There's no doubt about that. But I don't mind somebody who light a fire on the blade. They need that. So, dude, I would love to trade Gary and trade for Salvador Perez, but I don't see it happening, Chase. I mean, it would be nice. Correa or Seager. I see Seager as probably being more realistic. I have Correa coming to the East Coast just now with the Yankees in my predictions. But that would be phenomenal. I mean, that would be a beast of an offseason, Chase. That's for sure. Yeah, unfortunately, Vincent. I mean, Britton was dominant with the Yankees for about 2.5 years here. Sub-2 ERAs. He was really good, and then he just, went to crap this year. Too many injuries, unfortunately. But him and Chapman come off the books next offseason regardless. After 2022. Reggie, yeah. Brewers or White Sox starters. If we could, Lorenzo, if you can get a Corbin Burns here or Brandon Woodruff, I mean, you kind of have to be aggressive. I just don't know that the Brewers or White Sox, since they're now contenders, are going to move any of their guys. And I wouldn't even know who to go. I mean, I would only go after Lucas Giolito from the White Sox. He's the only guy I would go after in a trade. They better not get Bauer, Nicholas. They better not get Bauer, man. That would be pretty controversial, I gotta say. I think so. They have a lot of starting pitching options in the minors, but they're not major league ready, and that's the problem. They're not ready. They're not ready for it yet. Sean Jester, appreciate the dono, man. Appreciate the support. Dono hype and dono love, man, for Sean Jester. Thank you. I appreciate all donos and support, man. Nicky Lopez for shortstop. Bad cop manager to work off. Yeah, I mean that's where I think Showalter would come into play. And again, Daly, that's my logic. I understand your logic too. Coleman and Rodon have to be assuming he signs. I'm not exactly sure Cortez is going to make. I mean, we'll see. They might. But if they're throwing 3 to 4 each, that's nice. And then Hill, yeah, then you can have Schmidt as an option. You could have Schmidt as an option in the minors. So I hope, we have these guys, but then they still have to make room for guys like Steve Ridings and Holmes and some of these other guys. So, but I think there's always going to be at least one starting pitching spot that's not occupied in the rotation because of health and just needing that opening. For some reason, they have so many issues injury-wise with starting pitching. It's crazy how many starting pitching injuries the Yankees come down with every year. It's freaking bizarre. We got Richard here. A trade. D-backs get Torres, Florial, Abreu, Sears, Josh Bro. Yankees get Catel, Bumgarner. D-backs pay $20 million. Carson Kelly. Oof, that's a beast of a trade. Richard, that's a blockbuster and a half. Torres, Florial, Abreu, Sears. 2. 8-player trade of 5 for 3, and if the Diamondbacks pay $20 million of Bumgarner, I'd be amenable to. I'd probably say yes to that, Richard. I'd probably say yes to that. That's a beast. That's a beast of a trade. Sean Jester, again, thank you again for that. Appreciate your support, man. Appreciate your support. Corbin Burns, pinstripes would be phenomenal. It would be nice to get some of this young dynamic arm in here. Kansas City does have some nice pieces too. I know they're kind of slowly building some. I was actually hoping that the Yankees were going to go after Michael Taylor, but they gave him an extension a couple weeks ago, so he was a good. He's a good outfielder. They do have very athletic team. Benintendi would be nice. Would be nice here. Merrifield would be nice too. I mean, him and it's crazy. Him and Starling Marte are two older guys in their early to mid 30s, and those are the guys that lead baseball in stolen bases. The two older guys. Very good base runners. Really, really good base runners. So they got one or two of them. I'd be totally fine with that. Totally fine. And I think Marte would have been a better acquisition as a free agent anyway than in trade, so they didn't have to give up anything for him. I'm figuring out how to get pictures. Yeah, I hear you that, Dalai Lama. I hear that. Getting sticky stuff out. Yeah, I mean who knows what these guys do? There's always some kind of shit somewhere in their hat, on their neck. It's all kinds of stuff these guys use. But again, pine tar on the bat gives the batter an advantage too. So you might as well just make it a free-for-all as long as it's not steroids. And that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I heard it too, Alan. He's not going to have much changes to the analytical team. And I think that is a problem. I think they do need to shake things up a little bit in analytics because they're not doing enough. Yankees will sign Chris Taylor. I would be okay with that, Richard. I would be okay with that. Correa, no, I don't think Correa goes to Boston. By getting one more starter, you could easily implement the 6-man. I would like a 6-man rotation daily. I would like it. For some reason, the Yankees don't, and I don't know why. I wanted a 6-man rotation last year to let them ease back into a full season from the shortened COVID season. I have no idea why they didn't do it. It would have been, I think it would have been a good idea. Look how many pitchers went down this year. It was ridiculous. It's crazy. So 6-man rotation would be nice. Jack C, what's good, baby? What's happening? Stallings could be a good temporary fix. You'd have to acquire him in a trade, and I'm not opposed to it, Chris. I'm not opposed to it. Younger cat. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing too. We need more young catchers that are on the upper levels of the system that we don't currently have. A lot of our top catching prospects are either not going to stay at catcher or are in the lower levels of the systems. And if you look at the Yankees, I mean, top 30 prospect is only, I think, one of them that's a catcher or two. We need more. They need more. No. Chris Taylor plays multiple positions. He's a clutch hitter, and he would not be blocking Peraza or Volpe either. He's got playoff experience, a clutch hitter, good contact hitter. He makes a lot of the little plays, does the little things. He hustles, and he's got that hardcore blue collar baseball player look to and feel to him, which is the Yankees need some of that. So, yeah, Bumgarner's got about, I think, 3 years left, if I'm not mistaken. We definitely would want them to eat money. We definitely want them to eat money. And we need more pitchers to go length. So, Kluber, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice this year. I don't think Kluber will be back, Nicholas, but yeah, it would have been nice this year on a 6-man rotation. And they would have had less pitching issues, in my opinion. Yeah, they have. Bullpen's been bailing out the starters for a while now too, Alan. So it's Tucker Barnhart would work. Platoon with Higgy. Yeah, maybe. Sure. I mean, at this point, I don't think Sanchez should be the starting catcher here. I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't at this point. I think they need to move on from him. They might even non-tender him a contract so that they don't have to pay that $8 million. They might do that because they're not going to fetch a ton in a trade anyway. So I could see them non-tendering him and just letting him walk. I think there's a very slim to none chance that Kluber comes back. They had him last year for $11 million, and he missed like 2 months. And the risk of that again is just Gotta go. I think you gotta go somewhere else. I mean, but I'd be surprised if they brought him back. I really would. Dolly. D-backs are 20 million. He would be a 820 million. Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with that, Richard. 339, I'd be okay with that. Chris Taylor's contract. I think Chris Taylor is probably it's probably going to be 2 years, 30 million, or 3 years, 45. I think he's probably going to be about a 15 million a year guy. I really do. Voit, Torres, Joey Gallo for Shane Bieber, Jose Ramirez. Gee, man, I like what you're thinking. It's going to cost more than Voit, Torres, Joey Gallo. Probably a little bit more. You have to add up the top prospect for Bieber and Ramirez. I like that trade, though. Sign Correa. He said in Spanish interview he loves the East Coast and loves blue pinstripes. We need his leadership, Sanchez for Contreras. I would do that too. There is one team that people are not, I think people are underestimating for Correa, and the team is my prediction, actually, my predictions video, and where I see him going. And they are a pinstripe team. I'll give you that hint. They are a pinstripe team, but it's not the Yankees, and they are on the East Coast. I'll leave it at that. I'm gonna wait for you. I'm gonna have you wait until the video comes out so you can see what I'm talking about. But he would be a huge get for that team. And again, he could play multiple positions. Chris Taylor. He won't block. He won't block anybody. And again, championship player. He's got experience. He's clutch. He's a good contact hitter. He's versatile. That's the type of player the Yankees need. And he hits lefties and righties. So somebody here is mentioning my team, but I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give it away. No way I pay $200 million for a shortstop in their 30s. Which shortstop in your 30s are you talking about, Richard? That's going to get $200 million. Correa's 27, Seager's 28. Story, I think, is 31. He ain't going to get $200 million. Who else is out there? Baez, I think he's 28, maybe. Who are you talking about, Richard? Correa to White Sox, Phillies, Rodon, Racel Iglesias. I like him. Rodon and Iglesias would be big. Trade Chapman and Green. All good ideas. Don't fall for the Correa likes pinstripes. He's doing that to drive up the price, just like Aaron Judge is saying, I want to stay here. I'm in it to win with the Yankees, to drive up the price. That's what they do. That's what these guys do. And how could they not? You know what I mean? It just makes sense to them. The deals definitely will be long. No doubt about it. For just Bieber, what I think it'll cost to the Yanks? Torres. Probably Luis Medina. And 2 prospects in the top 15. I have a feeling the Yankees aren't going to sign a big shortstop. Most likely they'll get a stopgap guy like Andrelton Simmons. Well, he was in my predictions video, if you saw that. I'm essentially preparing to be underwhelmed, but hoping to be pleasantly surprised. So you'll see who I'm predicting, G-Man, in a couple of days. You'll see, and you're going to see I'm doing my top 50 players. So I think you'll find it fascinating. Correa and Seager have missed. They've missed some. Seager more than Correa. Richard, I mean, yeah. No, I get it, man. But they're young and they're clutch and they're superstars, but I get it, So is Judge. Judge has missed a boatload of games too. He's missed a hell of a lot more than Correa and Seager combined. And this is what I mean, the health thing and the long-term contracts. That's what frightens me about Judge. So, no Simmons. Yeah, I get it, man. Story 2 or 3 year. If you can get Seager on a 3-year deal, I'd be all over that. Simmons has an elite glove, but he doesn't have a bat at all. So Peraza, Urshela, Medina for Ramirez. If they were to accept that, I'd do it. Richard, Jose Ramirez is a legitimate superstar. But that's something Cashman would do, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly, James. Exactly. Story's going to want, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to want 5 years. He'll probably settle for 3 or 4, I'm guessing. Simeon's probably going to want 5 years. I think he's probably going to get 4. Correa and Seager are going to get paid. And they're going to get paid. And yeah, Simeon's versatile. Alan, I agree too. He plays multiple positions. He's a good hitter. And again, you'd be taking him away from a division rival, the Blue Jays. So, Block, I get it too. They need to focus on starting pitching. I still see them bringing in a shortstop, and they've said that they're going to bring in somebody for shortstop. So, I'm probably leaning towards Marcus Semien, but we'll see. I don't know. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised by what they do this offseason. But until they show that they're committed to win by being bold and not being afraid to spend, I'm gonna hold my praise for Cashman and Hal. They need to make us believe that they're committed again, and I really feel that way. But I signed Seager to a 4 or 5 year deal. Probably, yeah. I mean, if you can get him for 4 or 5 years, I would do it. He wouldn't be blocking Volpe anyway. Volpe can play second, or you can move Seager to second and let Volpe play short. He won't be blocking, and at that point, they'll have a better idea on Gleyber Torres, and they may even move him at that point. So who knows? But if you can get Seager for 4 or 5 years, yeah, you kind of have to consider that. To win a championship, you need guys who have been proven winners in the league. Absolutely, Richard. 100%, brother. I don't think they're going to DFA Steven Ridings. He's got a big-time arm, Dolly. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to invite him to spring training. If he pitches well, he'll be in that bullpen. Yeah, I think Volpe ends up at second or third, too. I do. I agree with that, Steve. Shut you. Don't worry, man. Michael's not going to come through there. Michael's not going to come through. So, I'll be all right. I have my pen. I'll give it to him. So, who on the Yankees has a ring? Brett Gardner. The only one. Yankees signed Prince Fielder to a 10-year, $500 million contract to play center field. That might happen, James. It might happen. Timothy, good evening. Good evening. Prince Fielder's fast, man. He's super fast. I wouldn't be surprised. The Yankees. I mean, if they got Correa, then at that point I'm like, okay, these guys are serious, but they can't stop at Correa. They'd be stupid to stop at Correa. They need to, if they're gonna do it, then you do Correa and you do Rodon and you get it. You go all the way. If you're gonna go big, you don't go big with one player. You go big all the way. So they're not gonna hit their way out of this stuff. You need pitching too. Verlander for closer. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I would give him an opportunity to get in the rotation. By giving him like a moderate salary. Don't be surprised if Houston gives him a qualifying offer and he takes it, because that's going to be $18 million. So that means the Yankees are going to have to pay at least $18 million to keep him if they offer him a qualifying offer. So, and they're going to have to give up a pick. So that's why I think that, I think he's going to get a qualifying offer from Houston. Just makes too much sense. So I'd be surprised if he didn't. If he didn't, then free for all. Cashman is the type to get Fielder to play for center. Yeah, and then he'll get his dad, Cecil, to play left. So, and then they'll have a dynamic duo out there. Better than Mookie Wilson and Lenny Dykstra. Verley, the new Smoltz. Yeah, man, Smoltz was a Hall of Fame starter, became a Hall of Fame reliever, went to the Hall of Fame. It happened. That happened. So, and he was smart to do it. Correa, Rodon, and Hader would be a dream. Hader would be nice. Rodon and Correa. That would be a pretty significant offseason, Timothy. Pretty significant. Yeah. Yeah. Steve, Big Daddy. Yeah, man, Big Daddy. Pablo Sandoval play left. I mean, if you get fielder, and Sandoval, you have the most athletic, versatile, fastest outfield probably ever. Those three guys, forget about it. They clean up. Nothing we get by them. Gallo for Hader, I would do. That's going to cost more than Gallo, though, but I would do that. Again, if they stay with Gallo, I just hope they bring in a head coach that's going to get a lot out of him and get a lot out of Torres and some of these other guys. Otherwise, it makes sense to consider moving them. Big Sevy. Big Sexy to play. Oh, Big Sexy to play right. Now you're talking. Big Sexy's got wheels, man. He's got wheels. Contreras from the Cubs. Anyway, love that guy. If they got Contreras, I would be happy guy. Like, and he's young, same age as Sanchez, has the same situation 1 year until free agency. He's a better defensive catcher. He's a better game caller. So he would be, in my opinion, an upgrade. Sanchez has the higher ceiling in terms of offense, but again, we need more. We need a better game. We need a better catcher and game caller, someone that the pitchers, starting and relievers are comfortable playing with. Like, those things are important, and doesn't have all these mental lapses that Sanchez has, and he hustles and those things matter. They really do. They really, really do. The Brewers were hot on Gallo, yeah, so was San Diego and a couple other teams. So I would entertain a trade. I would. That would be the fastest, James. That would be the most beastly outfield ever. Really would. So we're the Padres. No, not yet. Not yet. If they are able to get Simeon for 2 years, I'd be all over that. And put Anthony Volpe to shortstop after that. Yeah. Hey, Nora, great. Hello. How are you? Gallo for Hader. Chop, I get it, man. I get it, bro. Hader, I think you can get Hader without giving up Gallo, though. But, well, I like Hader for years. And he still has several years of control left. At least 2, I think, but I think 3. Who would you have to give up to achieve that? Urshela Torres for Contreras? Well, you obviously move Sanchez over there. Sanchez and a prospect will probably get it done. And not a tough, a number 10 prospect, number 12 or somebody like that or whatever. Something to that effect, I think would get it done. Could be wrong, but I think it would. D-backs and Yankees are a great trade match. Yeah, they are. I mean, even for guys like Zach Gallen and Marte and their catch, like there's a couple of guys that they could be good fits for. So, Jack C, be okay with LeMahieu at first, Judge at right, Seager at short, Stanton DH, Gallo left, Torres second, Hicks center, Gio third, Hickey catcher. I think it's probably going to be pretty close to what it looks like, Jack. I really do. I don't think that there's going to be a ton of moves. And again, I don't think they can solve everything in one offseason anyway. They're structurally deficient. They need a couple off seasons to get back on track for the long term, in my opinion. Raymil Tapia from Colorado. That's another interesting one. Franchise J. Man, Matt Olson would be phenomenal. Nora, I love him. Hader, Correa, Rodon. Yeah, that would be a beastly offseason. That's an expensive one, but it would be solid. Steinbrenner from the heavens for. Now you're just getting crazy, Chase. Now you're getting crazy. The Dodgers are going to get upset by the Braves. It's looking that way, James. It's looking like it's trending towards a Braves-Astros World Series, and I never thought that was going to happen, but this is the playoffs. It happens. I never thought Tampa was going to be eliminated, but they were. So, and I didn't think the Braves would beat the Dodgers, but it's looking that way. It hasn't happened yet, but it's very possible now. I will try to get Cashman on our live chat. I will reach out to them and ask, and that would be a freaking dream come true one of these days. Yeah, they're up 5-2. That would be a dream come true, Ola. Bling, I would love that. Allen, yeah, Simeon, DJ, for instance, they keep Torres infield starting pitch. Yeah, there's there's 2 or 3 absolute critical moves that they have to make. So, and they kind of determine some of the other positions. Do I think the Yankees are going to re-sign Anthony Rizzo? No, I don't, Evan. Would I be upset if they did? He'd be fine here. I think he'd be solid, but I think at the end of the day, DJ is going to wind up in first base. I think, but again, I could be wrong. Owner and hitting coach, and he could be a pinch hitter too, George. Like the jack of all trades. He could. Jumbo Diaz for 20 or 500 billion. You guys are getting crazy now. Athletics want Oswald Peraza bad. I have a friend that works on the athletic staff. Oh, that's cool. Well, you want Oswald Peraza, you got to give up Matt Olson. It's got to be that way. But that's pretty cool, Richard. Pretty cool. Gut feeling that will be the Yankees salary payroll before the first game next year. Over. Yeah, I think they'll be over. Ball 4. By how much, I'm not sure, but I think they'll be over. How about Astros? And is it a positive if they win? I mean, it's positive for them. I mean, I still think they have the stink of the cheating thing on them. At this point, I'm rooting for the Braves to win the whole thing. At this point, but we'll see. I don't want Boston or the Astros to win, but either way, if they win or lose and get one of them gets to the World Series, it still needs to light a fire under the ass of the Yankees. They need to do better at things, a lot of things. Yeah, great Knicks game. Tapia would be a good bottom of the lineup guy, good contact and speed, great R&D. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Chop, no, this is just ice water. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very with the exception of a glass of wine on occasion with my wife or a Corona on a hot day if I want like a piss tasting beer with lime. Those are the only 2 things I really drink. Vodka on occasion, but only when I'm out or we're doing something like that. But I'm not a regular drinker. I'm not. But if I do vodka, I like it with pineapple or orange or cranberry, obviously. Gray Goose. Gary. Yeah, I'm up in the air on Gary franchise. I'm not sure yet. They made some comments that they're going to be addressing catcher. I just don't know what that means. They're so vague about all these things, so I can never tell what the Yankees are thinking or doing. But then again, I think that's the way they want it. So, Yankees will never win without a great defender. Olsen would be. I mean, Rizzo's a great defender, Richard, no doubt about it. Olsen would be the perfect fit here for the Yankees at first base, but we'll see. Yeah, it's definitely not gin. I don't drink that stuff. It's too much for me. Tapia speed and lefty bat would be great in Yankee Stadium. Him and Marte would be dynamic outfield. Yeah, no doubt about it. Gallo to Colorado. I could see them sending Luke Voit to Colorado too. Just hitting bombs over there. Yeah, especially if they adopted DH, you put Luke Voit at the DH position. You just hit 40 home runs a year like freaking Adam Dunn used to do. Yeah, MLB Yankees. Yeah, damn right, Richard. Same. Yankees are bust every year. No matter what the Yankees go to, I'm still diehard. I'm not abandoning my Yankee pinstripes. I bleed Yankee pinstripes. No, there's no doubt about it. Well, it's the trades. Yeah, I mean, the Braves made some shrewd and smart moves. Low key, but good moves, man. Rosario and just, bringing in Morton was a smart move. Like, they made some good moves. Yeah, I mean, Joey, I don't like Alex Cora either, Timothy. I really don't. I can't stand him. But he knows how to manage his team. Keep Gary and upgrade Higgy. Yeah, who can we upgrade Higgy? The problem is who are we going to upgrade Higgy for? That's the thing that's going to make Sanchez better because that doesn't change all of the the lack of focus and all these other things from Sanchez. He still needs to work on that. So Tucker Barnhart, yeah, I could see appealing option. Wilson Contreras, at the end of the day, I think he'd be perfect here. I really do. I really, really do. Yeah, exactly, James. Acuna's been out the whole year with a torn ACL, so they're doing this without him, which is much more impressive. And I can see them making a move or two this offseason as well. Obviously, Freddie Freeman's priority number one, but they still need to make some moves after that. Carson Kelly, some folks were mentioning. Yep. And this is the thing. There's not a ton of appealing catcher options, which is why I'm doing top minor league prospects, particularly on teams that are blocked by major league starters. So that's why I'm including them in my trade proposals. G-Man, how's the younger Contreras? Isn't he a catcher as well? Him and an Atlanta pitcher. Max or Ian? I think he's a catcher, G-Man. Yeah, Ian Anderson, I think he's a good-looking young pitcher. Max Fried, right? Fried? Yeah, he's nice too. I mean, for a trade, I would consider a trade with those guys. G-Man, yeah. And the Braves without Acuna. This is amazing. It's amazing performance without their stud player. Send Voit to the moon. Dude, Jack C. Thank you so much for the dono. Dono hype and dono love for Jack C. You're the best. What's Jack C got going on? Baseball is so unpredictable. You're 100% right. Who would have thought as well that the Giants and Rays played all year? Exactly, man. 107 games and they were out. And the Rays were my fit. I actually had a Rays Giants World Series, and neither one of them is even in the championship series, which is crazy. And who would have thought they'd be out? And now the Dodgers and all they do so perfectly, and they're about to be done too. And this is the thing, and this kind of gives me insight into the Aaron Judge thing. Just because you bring in or re-sign guys to big deals or bring in expensive guys does not guarantee anything, which is why an Aaron Judge trade makes sense for me, because you're bringing in developmental players again that can give you an injection of youth, which the Yankees need. And the Dodgers do it really well. They have a combination of highly paid players and bold trades and an injection of youth. They do it right. And they're not afraid to spend and not afraid to make bold moves. And it's something the Yankees have not been doing. I can't think of the last blockbuster trade the Yankees made. A real big blockbuster trade that actually what's the last one the Yankees made? In the Didi Gregorius one, because Max Scherzer was involved to another team. I can't remember the big, of a Scherzer Trey Turner level. I can't think of one. And this is the Yankees are not doing things that these other teams are doing. But you're absolutely right, Jackson. Thank you again for the dono. I mean, I appreciate you, man. You are the best, and you make great points. Because this is, again, it's a great observation because, and like I said earlier, it's teams get hot, teams get cold, or some teams get hot, so other teams get hotter. I didn't think the Astros were going to turn it around on the Red Sox like this. And I didn't think the Braves were going to turn it around on the Dodgers like this. It's remarkable. But this is – everybody starts at 0-0 come the playoffs. And, you have some guys getting healthy and just, again, big budget doesn't always mean wins. But, they're like them and the Red Sox, they've been more successful than most because they're doing all the things on top of spending, trading and developing and all those things. They're doing it right across the board. And the Yankees are not, unfortunately. So when the Yankees were doing it, they were winning left and right. So, and again, the Yankees haven't had the highest payroll since 2013, and they are the richest franchise in baseball by a mile. To me, it's a problem. It's a problem. They can't be afraid to spend. They cannot be afraid to make big trades, and can't be afraid to call up young kids who who can contribute. Not every position needs to have a superstar. Okay, develop your own superstars. The last pitcher that the Yankees developed that had a good career was Andy Pettitte. And the last position player, Bernie Williams, that had a great career. And that's from the core five. That's what I mean. They develop these guys and they let them play, and it's the Yankees need to do this, man. They need to give guys a break. an opportunity. So Gleyber Ruiz would be nice. He's over with the friggin' Nationals now, over in the Max Scherzer trade. Him and was it Hosea Gray, I think. I think you might like my Blockbuster Yankees trades in a couple days franchise. So keep an eye on that. Again, Jack C, you're the man. You are the man, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Cashman's too scared. Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, yes. The problem with the Yankees is the arrogance. Well, it's partly arrogance. It's part not admitting when they're wrong, when something's not working. It's just acknowledge it didn't work, and you keep moving forward. And you keep trying to you fix it. But the stubbornness and unwillingness to kind of admit obvious things that all of us can see, that just hamstrings them. It doesn't help them. It's ridiculous. It really is. Yeah, Ruiz. Yeah, switching. Yeah, Ruiz is a good-looking prospect, man. A really, really good-looking prospect. So, and again, the Yankees are richer than the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are just schooling them in terms of, investing in players. That's what the Yankees used to do, and they won more than anybody. And now the Dodgers are doing it, the Red Sox are doing it, and they're winning more than everybody. So, this should not be rocket science for Hal Steinbrenner. Like this, what's with the austerity cutting? Like, I don't understand that. Invest in your players. And I know COVID hit and they lost more money than anybody. I get it, but you're gonna make it back. You make money hand over foot, merchandise and tickets and parlay. These guys make so much money, it's ridiculous. Now invest. Like I said, you showed you're committed to Boone. Now show everybody you're committed to winning by bringing in a better team and bringing better coaches. Otherwise, you're going to lose part of your fan base. And that's the problem. Like, you really want that? I don't know. And again, I'm not making Hal Steinbrenner money, so I can't speak to him, to his perspective. But like, that dude ain't poor. He ain't poor, that's for sure. But if you invest in your product too, you increase the net value and the net worth of your product. Steinbrenner, bought the Yankees for about $11 million. He turned them into $1 billion franchise because he constantly invested in his product. He enhanced it, and things started to compound outward. And that's, I think Hal Steinbrenner can do the same thing, but for some reason he refuses to. I really do. Do we need huge offense at shortstop, Richard? I don't think huge offense. We need consistent offense and good defense. And I think we need more of that than huge offense. We have huge offense already. We need some troublemakers, and at the plate we need some troublemakers on the base paths. And we need guys to just cause havoc and chaos everywhere. And we don't have that. So, yeah, I missed the boss too, Steve. He was crazy, but he was great. You knew he was here, and his main objective every year, his number one objective was to win, and he did whatever he needed to do that. And I do not feel that way about Hal and Cashman, particularly Hal. Rosario's bat in the short porch. You talk about Eddie Rosario from the Braves, James. He's a good-looking player. Marte is a good leader. So is Brian Reynolds. I would take either one of those guys for a leadoff. If you can get Marte, I mean, even though he's had some injury issues with his legs, he'd still be worth a trade. I think Cashman will have a shitload of money this offseason too. I really do, Timothy. And I hope that they, are like, we're going to invest in this team. I'm going to do whatever we need to do to put ourselves in a position to get to the damn World Series. Whatever. Jack would be fine with one great role player like Kiki. Yeah, Kiki's another one. These guys, I mean, this is, Kiki Hernandez and guys like Chris Taylor. Like these are great role players, and these are players that the Yankees used to have, like Homer Bush and Luis Sojo. Fantastic role players. The Yankees need more guys like that because these guys would be great. I mean, imagine getting Kiki and Chris Taylor. Like, be a huge boost to the team. Playoff experience, champ leadership, like just intangibles, clutch hitting, contact hitting. Just, again, causing trouble for other teams. That's exactly what we need. That type of trouble for other teams, man. We need teams to be like, God, we have to play the Yankees again. My God. Teams are excited to play with the Yankees right now. That's not a good thing. No. Hal has to answer to his partners. He doesn't have carte blanche. Well, the majority of his partners are Steinbrenners. So it's a family-owned enterprise. And he has some other partners, but he's the majority owner. So and he can essentially do what he wants. But yeah, I mean, you make a good point, because if it's making it about the partners and the shareholders, and it's really not about the franchise. It's about the investors. So, and that's like a VC or venture capital model, or big pharma. And working in corporate America for 2 decades, that was what it was all about. It was cutthroat. It was about making money for the people at the top and screwing a lot of people down below. And I hated that. That's why I got out. So I don't like that model. It's not a healthy model. So Scherzer insane. I would give Scherzer $80 million on a 2-year deal. $40 million a year. 80 freaking million. At age 37, I would do it. Ended up bought by the Yankees. Cone, Clemens, and Chapman. My favorite Yankees. Yeah, I mean, Cone was brought here. Clemens was brought here. They traded David Wells for Clemens, and I loved David Wells. I also loved Roger Clemens. Chapman's another one. Brought in here from the Reds. Like, all in trades. Bold trades. In the Cone and Clemens one, I mean, they won multiple World Series together. And Cone threw a perfect game, which I was at, which was really cool. And Clemens got multiple rings, too, at the Yankees. So those trades definitely worked out. They definitely worked out. Seager splits, righties. Darryl, yeah. Good or bad fit in those facts. Just, yeah, those are the facts. Righties, but yeah, I mean, Seager is more, I mean, it's interesting because I'm like 50-50 on Seager. If it were me, I would bring in Marcus Semien or Chris Taylor, and who's an underrated guy, and he steals bases too. And then, if they have an outfield opening, I go after Starling Marte because he's fast. He can hit. He's a combination of power and speed. And the Yankees need more. They need more speed and athleticism everywhere. They really do. Torman, that would be $80 million. To me, Scherzer was the best free agent signing in Major League Baseball history by any team. The Nationals got every cent worth from him. Rumor is that the Yankee budget will be $275. If that's true, Richard, then they're going to kick some ass this offseason. How do I feel about Verlander? I've mentioned it recently, Shane, that I think the Yankees should go after him because he complimented Garrett Cole, and I think he would push Garrett Cole and make him better, even though he's coming back from Tommy John. Dude's a gamer, and he's the type of player that other teams like to hate. He's a dick. He was a dick when he was on the Astros, but he would be our dick if he came to the Yankees. And again, this isn't a regular pitcher. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer coming here, and he's healthy again, so you get what you can get out of him. But I think he would be a big boon to Cole, and that's and they're good, and they are good friends, Richard. So that would be a huge get for the Yankees. If you get Verlander and get a Rodon, I'd be so happy, so freaking happy. Or you get Verlander and Castillo, I'd be so freaking happy. I mean, Verlander and Rodon would be nice because you get one righty and one lefty, but or Castillo and Rodon, I'd be okay with too. Seager batting second with Judge third is a good way. Yeah. You have a nice leadoff hitter, sure. Or if you have DJ still here, then I would lead off Seager and lead and put DJ second. I don't like DJ at the leadoff spot. I think you should have traded. They should have traded him and Voit and Andujar. James, I'm with you there, brother. I'm with you there. Hell yeah. Pay Seager and he gets hurt, then it would be a disaster. Well, if we pay him 8 or 10 years and he gets hurt, it would be a disaster. If we gave Judge 8 or 10 years, $250 million, it would be a disaster too. But that's unfortunate, is the risk these guys take. And the other problem is 100% of baseball contracts are guaranteed. So no matter what happens, they get every dollar, whether it's from the team or the insurance, they get every dollar. So Verley is a black hole for 25. I don't know if he'll cost 20. Well, he might. But I would. He's a guy I would take a risk on, Justin Verlander. Yeah, I'll be wrapping it up too, man. I'll be wrapping it up too shortly. But thank you for the donos, everybody. I really, really appreciate you. And have a wonderful night, everybody. I'll do another one on Saturday night. I think we should be out of the championship round, so we could talk about that, and then we could talk about the other trade option videos, and then I'm gonna I'll be teasing some of them. It'll be free agent predictions and stuff like that. But we'll also be able to talk about blockbuster trades, and we'll see what happens. We might have a couple more things happen at that point. So, yeah, but ball four, yeah, they have some roster cleaning to do. Verlander is probably going to cost, well, somebody, I mean, if the Astros give him a qualifying offer, then somebody's going to have to give him $20 million guaranteed to say no to it and go somewhere else, I think. So, lefty Japanese pitcher from Seattle, another intriguing option. He's the face of the franchise, yes, but he's not. Yeah, I don't like comparing him to Jeter because different position. Jeter was healthy for 20 years, and I get what you're saying, but Jeter signed his extension when he was like 26, something like that, or 27. I mean, Judge is going to start his at 31. That's a big difference to me, in my opinion. So, and he's going to get a hell of a lot more than Jeter got. Jeter got 189 over 10 years. I mean, he's going to get 189 over 6 at least, and he's going to get more than that. So that's my only problem. And he's brittle. So it worries me. If he stays, I hope he's healthy and he plays well here. But this is the opportunity, right? This is the offseason to make a decision on him if I were them. So Syndergaard, it's possible. He's a free agent too. I expect the Mets to give him a qualifying offer. And if they give him a qualifying offer, I leave him alone. I'm not giving up a draft pick for somebody coming off Tommy John. So, and that's also Verlander as well. If he gets a qualifying offer and turns it down, I'm moving on. We need as many draft picks as we can get. And that second round draft pick, I would use on a freaking catcher. So, but have a wonderful night, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are the best. Thanks so much for coming. Hopefully I'll see you guys on Saturday night. We'll have a lot more to talk about. So over and out.